Yeah. Welcome back to another Unapologetic on WOVU 95.9 FM. I'm your host, Eric King. I'm not sure what's going on up in here, but everything is everything. So, as usual, this is our brother to brother, and we have a very special guest today. We got the one, the only Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson, who is running for judge. So she will be joining us. But before we jump on in that, as you can see from those that are online, we got my man Ivor here. What's going on? Let me turn your mic on. What's up?
What's good? I appreciate you turning my mic on so that folks can hear the most amazing words I got to say today.
All that plus some. Let's see. Let's get you right. All right, cool. All right, so today we got a very special guest. You and I both have done some, reaching out. She is running for public office, and she is a Clevelandite, and she just so happened to be running up against one of my fraternity brothers. No love lost, no love lost, but I really, just to make sure. What did Issa Rae say? I want everybody. She said, "Who do you want to win?" She said, "Everybody black."
I'm pulling for everybody black.
I'm with everybody black. So she will be joining us, and so she will be a part of whatever renaissance we got going on in Cleveland that has been happening and going on for the last 5 months or 5 years, I should say.
Yes.
So as those that have been paying attention, we had the dissent decree, we had all that stuff, and we had conventions here. So we on our way up.
Yes.
And as we on our way up, I want to make sure that I am a part of whatever's going on, as well as those that I care about. So let me start with something, simple but powerful. In the last, local election, less than 1 in 4 Clevelanders voted. That means 3 out of 4 stayed quiet, stayed at home, and decided that whatever was going on in the public sphere they were not going to be a part of. Now, I'm not saying that to criticize anybody. Everybody's vote, you have the right to vote. If you exercise your right, good. If you don't exercise your right, I'm just asking you to be just a little bit better. So when I take a step back and look at our justice system and look at, it's easy to picture it in like over a period of time. I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 soon. What?
I forgot.
I did. I did. And so I'll be 51 soon. And I remember back in the day, Mike White was the first mayor that I actually paid attention to. Okay. Just so happened he lived next door to one of my relatives. But, so I've been, paying attention to politics for a while. My grandmother was a, what do you call it? Union steward.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was struggling to read your mind on that one. I apologize, sir.
For Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
So she always, she was always telling me to ensure that I pay attention to what's going on. I vote. I do all that. So I've always had, political activists in my family. And even, I in college had the opportunity to be a part of, a bus trip to March on Washington, for, something I can't even remember.
Million Man March College, was that?
No, that wasn't me. No, I was. I think I was in. No, was I in? I don't think so.
It was that time.
It was that time frame.
We were young men.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying it's because revealing. But
Can I criticize?
I mean, you could go ahead
because that's unacceptable.
Is it?
No, seriously, that's unacceptable.
No, I understand.
No, when our community has the needs that we have, it is unacceptable for so many of the folks in our community to be apathetic on a way to cure. And I'm not going to say cure, but I'm going to say improve their circumstance.
So you want more numbers?
No. Go ahead. I thought you were going to say you want more time. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, not more. You got plenty of time, man. This you the co-host, brother. You got time.
But you understand me.
I ain't had to cut off a mic on the co-host in a very long time. She no longer with us, with the show. But
so our last show, I self-edited because I almost let one fly and I caught it.
No
that was
cussing.
an emotional show. Man.
No. What the last show,
Yeah,
the last brother to brother
you
that
and
we
I,
had.
and
Yeah,
the
y'all can go back and check it out. That was last brother to brother. We were talking about marriages and life and all that other good
Talk
stuff.
about that child support. And
child support and all that.
I had court in this last couple of weeks from between now and then. Anyway, come on, man.
So let's look at it. Some numbers a little deep.
Let's get back on track.
Yeah. But as it is, I am a stats person, and I look at stats. I've always looked at stats. I'm analytical plus, creative. So I use both sides of my brain. Now, Cleveland, we've got nearly 370,000 registered voters, and yet only 23% showed up in the last municipal election. That's roughly 85,000 people deciding the future of everyone.
Come on.
So I said I was going to give you some more numbers.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
It just frustrates me. So I was canvassing last year for the general election, and it was just frustrating to see the numbers as they came back, understanding that people just were not going to the polls. And it's so easy. There's so many different ways you can request. Like, you don't even have to get your behind up out of that chair,
because they have a lot of ways to get it.
You can have a ballot delivered to your house.
Yeah,
like that.
Because I think that's how my dad does it. My dad is a retired recluse.
My parents are old school in the way they like to go to.
I do too.
Pull the lever.
All right, so hold on. So this is the part that hits harder. The Cleveland Municipal Court, where so many of our neighbors stand and plead and, and all that other good stuff, touches more lives than any other court system in the region. And so if we're not a part of the solution, now granted, we have, Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson coming in today. Yeah. But if you just look at this concept, you got greater than 370,000 people complaining about what the justice system is doing, and only 23% of those complaining has the right to complain because they voted.
Yeah, because I mean, how many conversations have you had where it'd be like, voting can help some of that stuff. Oh, I ain't going. I don't. Shut up. Just shut your mouth. I'm gonna let you be nice because I don't have no niceness in me today. Because that just like understanding those numbers and that's another one of those instances where it elicits a very, very like emotional response, because I spent the 6 months last year out on the streets walking up and down. I think I touched I calculated. Yeah. I touched about 10,000 houses over that time.
Because you went from you did the door knocking, the door knocking,
and I had so many conversations. I had conversations with people all over Akron, Cleveland. I almost say Columbus, Akron, Cleveland, West Side, just all throughout our region. Yeah, and it was just it's disheartening to hear people talk about, and people that present themselves as informed when they have no idea, right? And people that present themselves, and I remember talking to a young brother last fall, and he presented himself to me in a way that he knew a secret about voting that I didn't know, and I was like, young fella, if you don't shut up with that nonsense. It was just crazy. Yeah. And people, like, our people are so uninformed, and we have these devices in our hands that have all the information that we need, but we don't use it to actually get information. We use it to tear people down, and clown some people for this, that, and the third. Like, man, if you don't start using these tools for tools and not for just entertainment, man, we're gonna go. I don't know. I worry for us.
Okay. When you look at, all right, so when you look at over the past 50 years, we've seen both a spike in those around our age group voting, as well as a recession or a reduction of those individuals. What do you think? Hip hop turned 50. Okay. I turned 50. You're 54.
Yeah.
The initial generation, as it relates to hip hop, and initial the initial, I guess, people, right, were really politically active as a, when it came to what they were rapping about.
Okay.
Now we're seeing, especially in this last election, we saw more quote unquote hip hop / rap artists / whatever else artists utilizing that same medium 50 years ago that was used to, pump up and show a lot of, positivity, EPMD, fight the power, all that. They redid it within the last couple. Hold on, let me turn you. Go ahead and cough. They redid it. But with that said, this idea that now with our new age, we're of this age and we see a spike up and down of what's going on. And as it relates to us as a population dealing with 100% this thing called politics and justice. What you got?
I don't understand. I just don't understand how we've transitioned from being so active. Mm-hmm. And how did so that's the next generation, that right. the population of 18 to 24-year-olds or whatever the case, mm-hmm. that's, that group is overtaking us Gen Xers.
Right.
And I can't understand for the life of me how we got to a point where we have failed our children mm-hmm. by not reinforcing what we know about how to make the world better for ourselves. Okay. And that is through voting. So I'm like, how did we get here? How did we get here?
You know how we got here. We got here by
budget cuts to education.
No, we got here by putting sugar in the castor oil because the castor oil tastes too bad.
Yeah.
So in other words, we got here by giving us our medicine while at the same time trying to sweeten it up. Yeah. And so what happens is we got more sweet than we have medicine. Yeah. And now the sweetness is the thing that we're addicted to. We're no longer utilizing the medicine, or the medicine is so sweet to where it's not. There you go. The message is so watered down that it ain't even helping. All right. But so today we got Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson, and she understands what it means to stand on both sides of the bench, and not just as a legal professional, but also someone who walked the same streets as it relates to, what we're doing and who we're connected to. She is a CMSD graduate. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's doing all that. She's running for judge of the Cleveland Municipal Court. Not just a career, but it's a movement. So just like anything else, we're going to do our very best to ensure that our guest and who she is and what she got going on. She's also an HBCU graduate, also
outstanding,
and also an AKA, right? Nope. She also an AKA, just like my wife's, and so she gonna come on and join us. And once she comes in, and once we after our mix, we'll get her on and get her going. But as most of you may have heard, we lost someone yesterday, and in losing that someone, it is go help him out, Ivor. Okay. In losing that someone, he is very near and dear to my heart. He is someone who is the same age as me. His birthday was February 11th, 1974. And he, oddly enough, that is my wife's birthday, but he is also 51. But when I got ushered into trying to figure out who I was and my identity, he was someone who was definitely a part of that identity, that neo-soul identity. So I want to give big ups to my man D'Angelo. And so this mix is dedicated directly to my man D'Angelo. Feel sorry for him. My prayers are out and thoughts are out to him and Angie Stone's son, to lose both their parents within a year period. So we're gonna go ahead and go out on our midday mix. I want everybody to just chill out a little bit and put your feet up and allow the music of D'Angelo just to fill your soul. I'll catch you on the other side. All right, hopefully everybody is chill and they got their what do we want to call it? They got their neo soul hat on. So what I did, Sister Judge Khalilah Lawson, what I said was I recognized that I may not be hip hop, but I'm definitely neo soul.
Oh, definitely neo. For sure. If we're nothing else.
It was not right. I didn't have the Timbs. I didn't have all that.
I did not have no Timbs.
Right.
I had Timbs.
You had Timbs?
I can see you with some Timbs.
I can see that.
Did
you? Did you? Well, I did when I pledged, so I had some blue boots. blue and white boots, blue and white Timbs, but that's different. But we're gonna take our first break, and then we're gonna come back on the other side with Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson. She's running for judge in Cleveland, and so we're gonna get into it and jump a little bit. So since you're doing the brother to brother segment, we're gonna talk about a little bit about men. Okay. So we're gonna get your 2 cents. But with that said, we're gonna go out and take our first break. This is Unapologetic on WOVU 95.9 FM. Welcome back, Unapologetic on WOVU 95.9 FM. I know that we just did that water thing. I put something up earlier on social media. I said I'm not competing with anybody anymore. 75% of y'all don't drink water. I said I ain't compete. So as you can hear, and as you can see on our Unapologetic with Eric King Facebook, YouTube, or IG, we have the one, the only Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson running for municipal judge for the Cleveland, Ohio. So when we say get out the vote, we bring the people on to talk a little bit. Welcome. You are a Clevelander.
I am homegrown.
You are homegrown. You are a wife. You are a mother. You attended sister, daughter, attended the HBCU. Actually, I met your whole family. Attended the HBCU. You also are a part of the National Panhellenic Council, which is AKA. So welcome. So you are. So when I call you sister, there you go. When I call you Sister Lawson, I mean it. All right. So let's jump into it. So you are an individual who is from Cleveland, and you have decided to, do something about what's going on. And so that's a part of your platform. What is it that you want to offer Cleveland, as a whole? And why did you get into just this politics thing, based off of everything that's going on?
So like you said, I'm born and raised in the city of Cleveland. I grew up on the east side. I am a CMSD graduate. I graduated from Collinwood High School. First person in my family to receive a 4-year degree. I came through a program called Upward Bound and Trio. Yep. So for those of you who know about Upward Bound and Trio, you know how instrumental programs like that
I used to be a teacher.
Okay, yep, for our inner city kids, and but for them, I wouldn't have even been exposed to HBCUs. And so when I think about what I'm doing, my job, my work, it's too many people in this city that face barriers to justice. Yeah. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. And I want to break those barriers. I'm not doing this for a political agenda or to advance any political agenda. My agenda is to change lives and save lives. Yeah. And we need more people like that. That's from the inner city, that understand the socioeconomic and cultural background of the people in the city that really want to make a difference for the right thing, not just being a puppet in a position.
Exactly. So you you served as a prosecutor, defense attorney, and now you're a magistrate. So everything has come full circle. Yeah. So your concept of ensuring that you understand every avenue of what is going on in Cleveland and how to serve the people has been something that, a part of your entire existence, or career. What was the thing when you say this thing told me to pursue or asked me to pursue law? What was that thing to help you pursue law?
So I'm a spiritual person. I can't speak for everybody, but I am a believer. My father's a minister and a pastor, and I feel like we all have callings on our lives and assignments. And a lot of times it's like, well, what is my assignment? What am I supposed to do, on this earth? But I knew as a little girl that I wanted to get into law. And obviously I'm not like as a little girl, like, God, tell me what my assignment is on this earth. I can hear you so clearly. We grow into that spirituality. But I will say one of my favorite movies growing up was A Time to Kill. Yep. I watched that movie when I was 10 years old, and just watching the dynamics between Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. My dad is like he's a militant, so I grew up reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, Willie Lynch, things like that. And so seeing that movie, understanding civil rights, understanding racial dynamics, understanding people not having adequate representation, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be a lawyer. I gotta go save people. And I didn't know lawyers or politicians or anybody like that growing up. I knew people that was involved in the justice system. I knew people that I was in the hallway with in high school that had ankle monitors on. And the sad thing was, them not understanding the justice system. Like, well, why you have a monitor on, or what do you have going on in court, and not having an answer, that was problematic for me.
So when you're looking at your trajectory into this thing called law, it sounds like it's a calling. You can jump in at any time, co-host.
I didn't want to step on you, but go ahead.
No, it sounds like it's a calling, and frequently in our, those from our community, we go towards calling, but we become burnt out. Mm-hmm. What are we doing to avoid from that burnout because of our calling?
Again, I take it back to my spiritual aspect, and understanding that this is an assignment and a calling from God, and just praying through it, because politics is not easy. Right. You face a lot of things that a lot of times people are not ready for, and don't really know how to understand and navigate it. But I ask for protection. I pray for protection. And I have a great family. We're a grassroots campaign. Mm-hmm. And so everybody that's around me and in this circle is family, loved ones, that are people that are constantly pushing you. And I think a lot of times you have to be on autopilot, because when you have an assignment and a calling, I got to get to my goal and nothing else matters. And I'm on autopilot, and this is my vision. And if you're not standing for my vision or standing with me, then why are you here?
Then why are you? What you got, Ivor?
No, and Khalilah, you mentioned not a deep political party affiliation. What does that mean to you to be able to move a little bit outside? And I know you have to be affiliated with one or the other, but what does it mean to you to be able to move outside of that traditional red or blue?
Right. And so I am a Democrat. I vote Democrat. It's on my literature. But I don't have that party endorsement. And I think what that means for me, though, is I have a breadth of experience, and I have a great base, where I'm saying that, no, I might not have this endorsement for this party, which is totally okay, because I stand for everybody. Mm-hmm. I stand for working class people. I stand for working class families. And we can all be a part of the same party, but have different values and different traditions. And that's how I think when we talk about a campaign, I relate to every single person, no matter how you identify, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, because I'm running for judge. Yeah. And so I'm nonpartisan. We don't want to have any biases, and I don't have any biases on the bench, but it allows me to be able to reach a whole base. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, I can only talk to this party, or I can only talk to that party. No, we talking to everybody, every party, every club, whatever.
Right. And that's, I think that needs to happen. I wish that would happen all the way up to the Supreme Court, quite frankly, but that's another story.
The other part is it doesn't matter who you bring in front of you. Right. Whether they are a Green Party, whether they're a Democrat, whether they're Republican, everyone has to be a part of the judicial system, or the system in some type of way. When you look at this idea of no matter who's in front of me, it's my job to actually do the rule of law. Right. Why is it that people don't understand that part when it comes to judges and how important judges are?
I think a lot, it's just a lack of understanding. Because at the end of the day, we have to be fair. Yeah. We have to be fair no matter who it is. And it's, did you do justice? Did you treat each person fairly, no matter, like you said, who's standing in front of you? But I think of it as conversations need to happen. We need to have more settings like this, where we're talking to our brothers, our sisters, our family, about what it means as to be an elected official, and why we need you to support judges. Because a lot of times, we have people that go in front of the court system and they complain about our judges and elected officials. And my first question is, well, did you vote? Yeah. And so I think there's a lack of understanding when we have these conversations, and these kitchen table talks and radio talks. People learn that judges are just regular people. I am a regular person. I'm an everyday person. Right. I have kids. I'm a husband. I shop at the grocery store. Right. I go to Dave's. I go to Aldi's. Right. Save a lot. I'm just a regular person happening to be running for judge and wanting to make a difference. So I think when people see you in that light, like, oh, she doesn't have all these airs about her. I'm just a regular person, just like you, and wanting to make a difference.
That's why we call her sister. Yeah. So let's flip it and let's look at it from more. So this is a brother to brother, and I'm gonna let Ivor start off with this. Brother to brother is during a time that we utilize this time to spotlight men. And typically it's Black men, but it's all men. And during that time, we talk about things that are important to men. And so what we read earlier is that well over 307 in Cleveland, we have well over 370,000 registered voters. 23% of those registered voters voted. which gave, what was that, 83,000 voted in this most recent election.
The primary.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Some of those are men. And when I look at what went on as it relates to how people looked at, Sister Harris or Vice President Kamala Harris, we talked about on the show, and it was a dividing as it relates from black and brown people. But I'm gonna pass it over to Ivor. What you got?
So, I was talking to people about your candidacy and some of your fundraisers and just events. And the question becomes, what do we do? How can we motivate Black men to get up and get out? 23% is just not enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And while Eric will not criticize, I'm going to criticize all day, because y'all need to get your behinds up off the sofa and go do something for yourself. So, motivation. And as I was thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know what to do to motivate. Mm-hmm. What do we do?
So we recently had a fundraiser that was centered around Black men to show the support of Black men. And I'll use my brother for an example, right? My brother was not a very political person, not really involved, didn't really, he goes and votes. He is a voter, let me say that, but not really involved in the politics. So sometimes you feel like, oh, well, a lot of our men have been harmed by the criminal justice system. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, why would I be an advocate or go out and do A, B, C, and D? And that's a system that's really, been detrimental to Black men. But once I got my brother involved, for example, and he starts speaking at these forums, he goes to these community engagement meetings, and you can hear the passion. It's like, okay, now my eyes are open, and you see how politics can work against you. And you're like, well, no, I need to fight this system to make sure that we get somebody in office that is truly for the people. And I think that's the enthusiasm that we need. And a lot of it comes from that face-to-face contact. A lot of times our politicians are not face-to-face connecting with constituents, and especially Black men. I knock doors. I go door to door. I have conversations with Black men and say, what are you looking for? What do you need? And then when we sit down and talk, it's like, okay, no, I really respect what you're doing. And I think a lot of times it's just, they haven't been engaged. It literally comes down to, they have not been engaged. Nobody has tapped into them.
That's what I was about to say, because a lot of times, so we talk about fathers, we talk about a lot of that. There's a distrust for the court system as it relates to men. What is it other than tapping them on the shoulder? Because we got Black man here who actually has done way more than I have. And he has done way more. And what was that number you gave of houses that you?
So last year I worked with Ohio Citizen Action, and we did canvassing. Mm-hmm. And I calculated that myself personally, I knocked on about 10,000 doors, because we were out there 6-7 hours a day for 6 months or something like that. It was a lot of time, a lot of
Thank
doors.
You for doing that.
But the conversations that I had with people in many cases were disheartening, in that there were folks acting like they knew something that I didn't. Oh, I ain't voting, and then they would go on some soliloquy of nonsense and telling me why that voting didn't matter. And I'm just, and you don't want to shout someone down. You don't want to necessarily make someone, using words that I can use very eloquently or otherwise, but to make people feel bad about not participating. But at the same time, trying to turn them as much as you could. But it's hard. Yeah, it's disheartening.
It is hard, but you know what? I will say, I've had so much positivity with this campaign. When we're out talking, and again, my dad is by my side. My dad is by my side constantly. He is, Black man, husband. My parents have been married for 50 years. Father, pastor, and so a lot of times people have this idea that Black men don't exist, or me as a daughter, like I don't have a father.
That's a falsehood,
right? And it's like, no, there are Black men. There are amazing Black men that in the community that care, that want to make a difference. But when he's out with me, and you see the dynamic between a father and a daughter, and you see that love, it resonates with people, and it resonates with families and Black men, because it's like, wait a minute, look at this man standing here with his daughter by her side, unequivocally advocating. And I think that's the hope that we put back into our people. And one of our sayings is, the hope is in the vote. And so when you see this Black family and this Black man, and I have a husband and children, it's like, no, it's not a myth. We do exist, and we stay here in this city, and we live in the city of Cleveland
on purpose,
intentionally. choose to send our kids to Cleveland Public Schools. I'm a product of Cleveland Public Schools. So is my husband. So is my father. So is my brother. We love this city. And I think, though, we have to show what family looks like and what love looks like in real time and bring that back in front of people, because that concept of family has left and people don't really see it and know what it looks like. And so I think we have to be that refreshing spirit and say, no, this exists. We care about Black men. We care about Black families. I mean, for all families and all men of that matter, but specifically,
right. Every now and again, it's okay just to talk specifically.
To be reminded of the fact that Black men stand behind Black women.
Right.
Not only that,
overwhelmingly.
Not only that, Black men are more likely to be a part of their child's life.
Sure.
So
protect
Black women, right? And protect Black women, except for Stephen A. But that's besides me. But let's look at this idea of restorative justice. So when we're looking at restorative justice, what is that? Because that's what I heard a lot of. I don't know about you. When I heard and read and all this other stuff, I heard about restorative justice, and I don't know what that looked like as it relates to the judicial system. What does that look like, what do you think that is?
I see. So the Cleveland Municipal Court, we call it a helping court. We have 4 specialty dockets, mental health, drug court, human trafficking, and veterans docket. And so a lot of our specialty courts are designed to be restorative and to help bringing in programs from the community that can help prevent recidivism. I think a lot of it is taking a lot of these community programs where we have leaders within our community and bringing them inside the court. That way, when they leave out, they can say, hey, I have an extension of the court to help. Even our churches, whether it's, AA programming, whether it's mindfulness, exercising, yoga, whatever it is, there are so many community programs that are willing to support what we do at the court in lieu of sentencing, to jail or things like that. Let's find ways, because again, when people come in front of us, they're not just in front of us for the case they have. There's so much trauma that we don't even have time for, to unpack and unravel. But if we can have a means or a mechanism to partner them with community projects to help restore, then that's what we would love to do at the court. And we do that and continue to do it.
So this idea of restorative is literally fixing and restoring the concept of the court and the community back to where it needs to be, because most of the Black and brown cases or achievements that we've had has come through the court. It hasn't necessarily come through executive intervention. It's actually come through the court system. When you look at to go back to Ivor's point, you look at what the court is doing. How do we come to this idea of accountability within a system that has so many loopholes that, to go back to Ivor's point, that's probably what he was getting when people were saying like, oh, I know more than you. They were actually talking about loopholes and all this other stuff. How do we close these loopholes and have some accountability with, all 3 branches of, government? Yeah.
I think it starts with the people that are elected.
Okay.
The people that are elected have to be willing to do the right thing. Cut the backdoor deals. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, or, you grease this palm. That's why people don't have faith in the justice system. You have people that think, oh, well, they paid the judge off, or they paid, this person off. And I'm not saying it happens in all cases, but sometimes that's the mentality. And, it's like, oh, well, the system is rigged anyway. It was set up against me, to fail. But I think when you have an opportunity to talk to elected officials, meet them, and know who we're putting on the bench, it gives you a sense of, I know this person, I've talked to this person, I know what they stand for. And if we can get people on the bench that stand for accountability, and I mean accountability with the litigants, accountability with the police, accountability with the prosecutors, the defense attorneys. When we're talking about discovery, prosecutors, did you turn this over to defense counsel? Defense, did you turn this over? Looking at credibility of everybody. You can't have a fair system if the playing field is not fair. If everybody doesn't have what they need to have a fair grounding, then what are we talking about? We have to make sure that everybody's being called out and doing what they need to do in order for the system to work properly.
For it to roll. What you got, Ivor?
No, so there are times when we'll be sitting here and the words just, and it's just powerful.
Yeah.
just kind of circling back to letting folks understand that the system is going to be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a role to play for sisters like you who will come in and want to do something.
And I love that because what you just said, you said the system is the system.
It's going to be, it's been the same way for existence.
Until we get people in that can start to make impact and change and get people engaged, because once people become engaged, that is how we change the system.
Right.
Yeah. One of the things that, and I hate to say this, and we talked about this last month, one of the things that keeps men from certain aspects of the judicial system is not just simply crime or prison, it's literally child support. And it's literally the lopsidedness of child support. When talking to constituents and who happen to be men, and you're saying, look, I understand what you're dealing with that you probably should have thought about before you got with this person.
Like decisions
have consequences.
Right. This is the other part of the thing that you need to do as it relates to in dealing with the judicial system. Now, what would you say to that person?
I know you're discouraged.
Okay.
So here, let me look. Disclaimer: I don't work in the juvenile division, handle child support or guardianship or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I have found is a lot of times our men just need support.
Yeah.
You need to, no pun intended. But making sure that they have the resources.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I think issues we face in our community is a lack of resources, because I have had men come to me and had conversations about child support or things like that. And it's like they don't know where to turn, because you hear, well, women have all these resources, but there's nothing for the men.
Right.
And it's like, where can I go? I just want somebody to talk to lead me in the right direction.
Right.
And so having that available to them, I think is a big help. And when I talk to them and say, hey, you can do A, B, C, and D. These are the forms. A lot of times you go on these websites and you look up information, and it can be overwhelming. It can be convoluted. Yeah. And a lot of it is just navigation. How do I navigate through the paperwork? And don't get discouraged.
I don't understand why people go to court without a lawyer. We got legal aid.
I mean,
so
well, you can,
I understand. We got to take a quick break, but I get it. But
I'll give you a couple of reasons, but go ahead.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, not only dollars and cents, but the funny part is we need more. What's the word I'm looking for? Knowledge. There you go. No, I'm just kidding. Advocacy. That's a joke.
Yeah. Advocacy is really good. And again, it's navigating, knowing how to navigate, because you don't know what you don't know. But
that's the other part. But we're going to jump onto that. And on the other side, we're going to get to some solutions.
Okay.
Let's pick it up. So we're going to take a quick break. This is Unapologetic on WOVU 95.9 FM. Welcome back. Unapologetic on WOVU 95.9 FM. We got Sister Magistrate Khalilah Lawson.
I just call her Judge.
Just Judge.
It rolls off the tongue.
It does. It has a nice little ring to it, doesn't it?
Oh, so silly.
Oh, and by the way, shout out to Mark Young listening to us.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Mark.
Shout out, Mark.
Mark doing, he was supposed to be in here. He was supposed to be in here, but he be doing big things. All right. So let's get to some solutions, because that's what we do. We can lament and bellyache about all this all we want, but let's get to some solutions. So for those that are listening, when you are looking at a mat and you're imagining this Cleveland that we're going to have in the next 5 years, what are some of the things that within those 5 year period, how long is it? Right.
So judicial seat is a term is 6 years.
Okay, there you go. Within the 6 year period.
6 year term.
What are some things or some resources you will have wanted our listeners and your constituents to have taken a part of within your term?
So I think what's important is having I'll call it dual diagnosis programs. Like I said, we have a mental health docket, we have a drug court. But what about combining that to have dual programming where we're serving people? Because again, the issue is just not one dimensional. There are a lot of different components. So maybe bringing in, again, community agencies that are willing to serve people with dual diagnosis, whether it's domestic violence, mental health, and drug abuse, to see how we can work to solve those problems. Taking court outside the court and into the classroom, that's something I love to do. I go into the schools, we do moot court, we do mock trial, and we get kids excited and energized about politics and what a judge is, what a judicial officer is, and introducing them at a young age. Because again, like you said, we can do all these belly aches. But if we're having a conversation early and we're starting in our schools, I think that's a great solution. Making sure our high schoolers that are 18 or about to be 18 are registered to vote. I think of
huge.
it.
That is huge.
And I think that should go on in the schools. It should be a part of your government and civics class. Why are we not talking about voting? Why don't they hear about it? I think of it like preventative care.
Yeah.
Don't go to, you want to go to the doctor before you get sick to try to catch things.
Preventative care. Yeah.
I think of what I'm doing like preventative care. I'm trying to help you before you get to that point.
Before. What you got, Ivan?
What's your goal for, like, what is the number one thing? I mean, I'm sure you have a platform of things that you want to achieve, but what's the number one thing that you want to achieve in your term?
I want to go out into the community. I know that sounds so broad, but I want to make sure that people in the community understand that they have an accessible judge, where you don't have to go through all these loopholes, and making sure that we open up court, whether it's Zoom, which we did in the pandemic. A lot of times, okay, the pandemic's quote unquote over. We can't do this anymore. Yes, we can, because people have jobs, they have responsibilities, they have kids, they have daycare. And it's like, yes, you got to be held accountable, but how can I make sure court is accessible and kind of break this barrier for you so that you can solve your issues? So whether, those are Zoom hearings, scheduling, maybe an evening docket. We do have court on Saturdays as well, but trying to just offer more avenues that people can come into court and make it accessible, so you don't have to stop what you're doing in your life to try to solve your problems. Because if I say take off work and come into court, and then you get suspended from your job or fired because you missed a day, how is that helping anybody?
It's not. And that's the other part with the bail, but that's besides the point.
Well,
I'm going to be a little self-serving. So you mind if I be a little self-serving right quick?
Handle it.
So I am a mental health provider. And one of the things that I come across when you said mental health and dual diagnosis and things of that nature, what I come across is, as a private practice owner, I have different hoops. Actually, I have no hoops. Let me be real. I have no hoops to jump through. What I find is, in most cases, when programs like that come up, they're not looking for mental and emotional wellness centers of Ohio, which is my wife's and I private practice or privately owned mental health company. They're looking at the centers, or they're looking at some of the already bogged down organizations that cannot serve the court in the way that a private entity can. What is your thoughts on that?
I would love to have a conversation with you and your wife regarding your mental health services and how you all would be willing to serve within the justice system. Because again, like you said, you do have a lot of reentry programs or agencies that service, but they are overwhelmed. And I think what we need more of that personal one-on-one contact and commitment. And I think a lot of times when people feel like they can see someone that they trust, that looks like them, that speaks like them, they may be more inclined to engage in conversation and accept services. That's something I'd be more than happy to have a conversation about, to look into, because I think it's necessary. It's like that private one-on-one care, and it feels to me a lot of times a lot more personable than me just saying, hey, go to this agency.
Exactly.
It's like, well, hey, we have this facility here that provides these services, and this is what we do. And I feel like if people feel like they're being taken care of, like a family, it has more of a connection. People feel more inclined to want to change.
Now, once again, I'm not begrudging any of these agencies.
No, not
because
at all.
I've worked at Belfair. I've collaborated with a lot of these agencies. But what I do know, in being someone who was boots on the ground type of guy when I was working for these as a case manager and a therapist and a manager, is that burnout was pretty high, and the quality of care that these people were getting were not there. So if you're really attempting to make an impact on someone's mental health, you have to look outside, both, public and private organizations. And a lot of times when I go to meetings, I'm the only person in that room, and they ask me what agency you're from. And I tell them, I'm not from an agency. I'm from a privately owned organization who treats people. And they be like, oh, really? But that was it. Go ahead.
No, and I love that. And my thought is that we should utilize more private agencies so as to not have a 3-month waiting period for X, Y, and Z service, because that's ridiculous. I think that there's a lot of different ways of doing things that I would hope that we get more youthful, energized people
and fresh,
to come in and bring fresh ideas, because we already see that the old things, some of it works, but the things that aren't working need to be changed.
It definitely need to be changed.
And some things don't have to be fully reinvented, but we can change the way it's being.
Yeah, we can refine it.
We can refine it. Exactly. It may be antiquated, or yes, the idea is there, but how can we refine it? How can we bring fresh, new ideas and energy? And again, no burnout, or, we've been doing this forever, I'm just tired of doing. Well, I have a new idea.
Right. We've been doing it the same way. We've been doing it the same way for
take the whole
40 years. It's like, dude, do it differently. So in your 6-year term, let's get back to that. I heard mental health. I heard, being more communal oriented. What are some other things before we close out? What are some other things you want to do within this 6-year period of your first term?
Mentorship is so huge for me. And I don't just say that to use it as a buzzword. I used to be a teacher. I was a licensed substitute teacher for CMSD schools. I taught for the Children's Defense Fund, Freedom Schools. I taught autistic children. So teaching is always like in my heart. And I think, why I'm running for judge, you're coupling the law with teaching, because again, I have to explain to people what's going on in their rights and things like that. But I want to be a voice and make sure our youth know that the court is open for them to just come in and just to see. Just, you don't have to be here when things get bad. Be here to be positive and make impact and change. I didn't grow up, having a mentor or somebody that, take me by the hand and say, hey, I'm a lawyer, come shadow me, follow me around. I want to be that.
Right.
Do you need a letter of recommendation? Do you need to be introduced? Let me pull you into this room and be in this room. Do you have a resume? Do you have letters of recommendation? Do you know how to put on a suit? How to move about in certain spaces? Because again, a lot of times that's where we fall behind, because nobody has grabbed us. I want to grab every young person I can and introduce them into this world, in this legal field and legal community, and say, hey, this is what you can do. This is what you can be, Go
ahead. So from your day to day on the bench, what types of cases do you hear? Did we ask that question yet? I'm sorry.
We didn't ask. Go ahead.
So we hear civil and criminal cases, arraignments, which are your, hearings that, you have when people have first appearances, but misdemeanors. So misdemeanors from a minor misdemeanor to a misdemeanor to the first degree. Misdemeanors of the first degree are your highest form of misdemeanors. The most time you can serve on an M1 is 180 days in jail. So that's important to know about municipal court. The highest sentence you can get is a jail sentence. When you get to common pleas, which is felony, that's prison. But, you hear your domestic violence cases, your disorderly conducts, your open containers, but a lot, traffic offenses, and things like that. Garnishment, tax, a lot of, the civil side of things as well. Like our jurisdiction is for any civil matters that's under $15,000. So if, neighbor disputes, suing, things like that.
You cut my tree down, I'm going to sue you.
Right.
This is my side of the fence.
That happened in our subdivision.
Do we still do that?
No, there's a dude in my subdivision that sued his neighbor because they cut a tree.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So we got mental health, we got mentorship, we outlined what else you offer. What else do you want the people? So give everything that you want to know, because election day is coming up.
Yes. Okay. Election day is November 4th. We are at early vote right now. But what I want you to know is I am the people's candidate. That's what is not just what we say, is who I am. I stand for the people. I stand for working class families, working class people. I am very humble. I know what it means to come from humble beginnings. We say things like I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. My father is a generation removed from being a sharecropper. My mother his mother had to carry him on a Greyhound and stand the whole way to come up here to Cleveland. So I know what discrimination looks like, what it feels like to have to go through it. And we need real people in office, real authentic people that, you as my constituent can feel, can see, can touch. And I'm not just here smiling in your face because it's election time. I've been doing the work. I've been out in the community. I've done it my entire legal career. And that's what I want people to know, that you have a worker in me, and I'm going to do everything that I can possible to make sure I earn your vote, earn your support. But please look me up, Google me, check me out on my website, learn my story, and I'm here to talk.
All right.
Google me.
So Google me.
Oh yeah, Google me for real. For real. Google me.
That is Senior Magistrate Khalilah Lawson, who is running for judge for Cleveland. So go out and vote. As we do, we got Sister Lawson up in here. We get it. We get everybody up in here.
Man.
Now I think about it. I thank everybody for joining us. And when let's see, you can catch this up on Friday. Let's see, because we got to close out the show. They're gonna kick us out.
Yeah,
Ivor?
Oh no, I had so much fun. I don't want to go.
Give me your socials, Ivor. Give me your socials.
Oh my goodness, check me out on LinkedIn. I am Ivor L. Bassett Jr.
All right.
I'll give you that financial advice you need.
All right. And Sister Lawson?
I'm on Instagram at LawLoveK. Facebook, Khalilah Lawson. Also elect Khalilah Lawson for Judge, Cleveland Municipal Court. And I'm on LinkedIn, Khalilah Lawson.
All right. So as you know, you can't keep running. Them 370,000 voters.
Come on now.
Come on, let's get it.
Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. We can do it.
Let's get it out there. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, everybody that jumped in. Sister Lawson, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I've
All
had so
right.
much fun with you guys.
You be easy, and I'll catch you next week. This is Unapologetic with Eric King on WOVU 95.9 FM. Peace.